Hey everyone, welcome to the moon forecast video for the full moon in Gemini we have coming up on November 27th. I'm Kendall with the Bohemian Tarot Girl in Wild Reawakening. Amy, give a shout out to yourself.
Hi, I'm Amy. I'm an intuitive energy coach and moon circle leader at Wild Reawakening. And here we are with another full moon, getting ready to talk about all the energy that's coming in with this one. And it looks like it's going to be pretty interesting.
Yes, it has a lot of things going on with the spicy energy and some Mars and Saturn. And it's really coming into at that very early degree. It's at that 4 degrees and 51 minutes of Gemini. And so it's like right at the beginning. I feel like it's really asking us to look at the two sides of the coins of the life that we want in order to kind of kick ourselves out there and get things started. And we have to make that decision on where we want to go. What are you feeling for this new moon or full moon?
I think it's really interesting that we've had so much earth and water energy recently. And now all of a sudden we're having this big shift towards air and fire. And of course, with full moons, we always have that opposition because we have the moon in Gemini at almost 5 degrees, which you were
Yep.
talking about. And then we have Sagittarius, which is where the sun is. And we've recently moved into that. And there's always some sort of opposition and these like opposing energies that happen and trying to kind of make sense of them and find some sort of balance in between. And then we also have some interesting aspects that are coming in with this as well that are kind of like shaking things up and making them a little more, I don't know, just not flow as well as what I, because we have some squares and I don't know. There's a lot going on, but I think that overall it is going to give us some clarity on maybe some directions that we're moving towards. And I'm really looking forward to that.
Yeah, the main energy I see with this full moon to me that really like stands out is really that opposition to Mars. And that Mars energy is really fiery. And paired with that Gemini energy, that's where I kind of go, there's Gemini is a little bit of that, dual energy cited, and then you have Mars that's very like action oriented. That's very much like this is where you go. This is, ready to lead and push yourself in that direction no matter what. And with the combination together, there's a lot of passion involved. And so I have a feeling that you really need, to take your cues from where you're passionate and where you're really pushing yourself in that area. And that's where you should probably direct your energy towards versus getting sidetracked on some of the other stuff that pops up during this time.
Mhm. And I mean, Mars is in Sagittarius along with the sun, and they're kind of
Hmm.
and they're both opposing this moon and Gemini. And Sagittarius energy in general is already pretty spontaneous and impulsive and action oriented. I don't know if you've ever had a Sagittarius in your life, but they tend to just want to go without really thinking about consequences, uh, or what could possibly happen. It's like we'll just do and go and have this experience, and then we'll deal with the repercussions later. Gemini, on the other hand, being an air sign, is very mental. It can be overly mentally stimulated. It can want to look at all the ways something could go right or could go wrong. And it's going to want to have a plan and really contemplate the decision before it actually makes a move. And so you kind of have this opposition where, on one hand, everything, especially with the Mars being attached to this, wants to move forward and wants to jump and create some kind of action. And then you have, the mental aspect of Gemini being, but
Yeah.
wait a minute, like, what about this and what about that and what are we going to do and how is it going to be and what could the possible outcomes be here. And so it's a little bit of a tug of war that's happening in between these two sides.
Yes. And then we have Saturn, which is coming into the mix and it's squaring the full moon. And that in itself causes frustration and blockages and kind of can make you uneasy. You feel uneasy in the choices that you're making. So I have a feeling during this time, in general, you either have to be really straightforward and just kind of go with what you want, or you're going to feel those that Gemini quality where you're really weighing both sides and you're unsure and you're going to feel blocked and a little bit unable to move forward, and just knowing that that's kind of the energy that is happening during this time, and being able to step back and either just take a pause or take a breath during this time, and just know that if something is frustrating you or it's not moving forward, just to go ahead and let it go for right this minute. And as we move on into the new phases of the new moon, you can move some new projects along during that time.
Yeah, and Saturn being in Pisces, because it's been retrograde. So it's been in Pisces, and it's also a mutable sign as well as Gemini and Sagittarius. And so it is forming that T square in the chart, because they're, you have the two oppositions and then you have the other one. And it's Pisces is interesting, especially being in Saturn, because Pisces is very your intuitive self and your higher guidance and what is, your best path forward. And then it's having this square to these two very mental and action oriented energies. And it's also bringing in this kind of sense of, is the direction that you're moving in really in for your highest good? Is the direction you're moving in the best path forward, or are you going back to old patterns and repeating a cycle, or going over old karma, or repeating patterns that
Yeah.
you have since outgrown? That can actually happen sometimes. It's almost like you get a little bit of a test to see if you actually have closed out those old cycles, or if you have closed out those karmic patterns. You'll get something that looks and feels familiar and that you get excited about moving towards. And then this is a good opportunity during this moon to kind of check yourself and make sure that you're not just doing it because you want to, but because it is actually in your highest benefit.
Mhm. I think that's a good reminder for everybody, is to really focus on that piece.
Oh, because it'll be very, very easy to want to be impulsive
Yes. 100%.
and just be like, I'm just going to do it. And we'll see, we'll deal with the repercussions later. Um, and which you very well can. I mean, you fully have that opportunity and that right to do that. But how much old ground are you going to want to have to go over to make things right, or to get back on track, if you aren't paying attention right now?
Yes. I think paying attention to what you're focusing your intentions on and where you're moving towards. And maybe it is taking a moment and rewriting where you want to go, rewriting that path. I have this, we have this Mercury square Neptune, and it's that confusion energy too. And that's one of the other big game players I feel like is happening during this full moon, is this energy of unsure. Like you might be a little bit confused at what you should be doing, where you should be going. In general, the world around you might just feel a little bit off. And this is your moment to step back. Because if you're feeling that energy, there are places in your life to go ahead and reevaluate the path that you're on, the path that you want to go. So it's really calling you during this time to look at, you know, I would say almost like the misinformation that we create, right? Like there's the misinformation out there in the world, but there's also the stuff that we create and tell ourselves. And so making sure that that is not skewing your path, skewing your alignment is really important.
Because Mercury is also in Sagittarius,
Hmm.
and Neptune, of course, is in Pisces, and it has been in a long time. And that's already kind of creating some kind of cloudiness and disillusionment. So with them squaring each other, it's almost like you're not going to have all the pieces to the puzzle right now. And you may feel that, and it's just a good time to kind of wait. Not only that, but Mercury is starting its shadow period. It's about to go retrograde, and you know how much we love Mercury retrograde.
Ugh.
But it's going to go retrograde on December 13th, so it's already starting its slowdown. before it does that. It'll happen when it is in the sign of Capricorn. So just be really kind of aware that the information coming in might not have all the details. There might be some things that will come to light later that will make everything a lot more clear for you. But right now, it's going to be like you'll have some of the pieces, and it'll seem like a good opportunity to move forward with the information that you have. But if you wait just a little bit and slow down the process, you're going to realize that there's more information coming in that will be very useful to have before you decide to act on any chosen direction.
Yes. I feel like that is a lot about, even if we look at the energy of this time, of this upcoming month into like about mid-January, we're gonna see this um kind of blockage maybe in information. It's just gonna be, things are gonna be coming out and they're gonna be crawling out, but you won't really see maybe the full piece of the information until later on. And so there's this little bit of unease going through everybody during this time. And so just focusing in on yourself and making sure that you're really thinking about the positive things in your life, the positive things that you want to bring in your life, and focusing more on your internal path and making sure you're going in the right way is what we need to tune into versus really being drawn into that uneasy energy that's going on. So just remember that with this energy. And I'm trying to think if there's anything else really important going on. No?
Not a whole lot. I just feel like this time of year in general, I mean, the days are getting shorter. And
I
if we
know.
were, back in old times, this would be a time where we're really kind of going more internal, and we're spending more time with our families, and slowing down and not trying to force ourselves to do so much. And I know how society is now, we don't really give ourselves the opportunity to do those things as much. But this is really a good time for you to just kind of put some things on the back burner. Don't feel like you need to rush forward. Don't feel like you have to do it all. And just really take the time to go inward and to um, really appreciate your home environment and the people that you spend time with, and not be so hard on yourself right now to do more and be more. Um, giving you all permission.
I love that. Well, everyone, we will see you next time for the new moon coming up. I hope everyone enjoys their holiday season. Focus in on your family, like Amy said, and focus in on healing yourself. We will see you next time for the moon forecast video. Thanks again. Bye, everyone.